Minister of State Defense briefs President Tinubu on security situation in Northwest.
Senate to investigate frequent power outages in the country.
Three states withdraw participation in suit filed by Kogi and 15 other states.
On Good Morning Nigeria today, our conversation will be Constitution Amendment, the proposed independent candidacy.
Post-independent candidacy. I heard that you are gearing up to, go for private proposed that independent candidacy when you leave NTA. Is it true?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
Well, you can't really tell. I mean, the future is bright for everyone, and as long as women, get the opportunity, and of course get some, lease of way, into elective positions.
So you can lead the way.
Yeah, no, there are women who are already leading the way. I don't have to lead the way. There are women. All we need to do is project more women out there, and of course, media stations like ours, provide opportunity for women to shine. Anyway,
you look gorgeous this morning.
Thank you, Demola. Thank you.
All right.
I am not looking back. Someone said you're aging backwards.
Good. History is being made in Nigeria as the House of Representatives takes a daring step to allow independent candidates participate in Nigeria's elections.
By the way, thank you for the compliment. Well, you could say history is being made, Demola, because it's not the first time that the House of Representatives will be trying this. But this is the first time it's going the second reading. So you could say history, is being made. But let's wait until it gets to the State Houses of Assembly. But it's a very crucial legislation, like I said, which scaled second reading. I was introduced for consideration after the first success on the floor on Thursday, September the 26th, 2024.
It is a legacy bill from previous assemblies who did not give it serious attention.
Exactly.
The bill's progress is guided by the combined provisions of Order 12, Rule 17, and Order 1, Rule 1-2 of the House of Representatives Standing Orders. And
the proposed bill is known as a bill for an act to alter the provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, and it seeks to allow candidates who are not sponsored by political parties to participate in the presidential, governorship, National Assembly, State Houses of Assembly, and of course local government council elections.
This bill is sponsored by the member representing Ekiti North 1 Ikole Oye Federal Constituency, Akinrotimi Jr. He believes this bill will expand participation in the electoral process. So far, the bill has been recommended or recommitted to the House Committee on Constitution Review for further comprehensive consideration and legislative action.
Well, we could say that, ask what the implications of independent candidacy in our electoral process will be. Now, elsewhere, in other democracies, in Europe, for instance, 13 countries currently allow independent candidates to participate in the elections. And of course, if we recall, in the United States, some time back, George Washington, was the only president who ran for office twice as an independent candidate. But there have been several others. Yes, for instance, there was someone who ran for the mayor of London. That's in Britain. But in US, there have been quite, you know, a number.
Many others.
Yes.
All right, but this is entirely a new system in Nigeria and even in Africa. We've not had any in Africa.
No, we don't. We have in Kenya.
In Kenya, you sure?
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, is this a path Nigeria should take at this time? A big question. And benefits in having independent candidates in Nigeria's elections. We have guests joining us shortly to speak on these issues. Welcome to the program. I am Ademola Adeoye.
And I'm Claire Adelabu Abdul Razak, and we thank you for joining us again for this very crucial conversation on whether or not our constitution will be altered or amended to allow for independent candidates to vie for elections. And it will be happening right here on the network service of the NTA. Chukwudi Okolugbaja will be joining us much later for newspaper review. But right now, Comfort Emodu will bring us some comforting news this morning. Comfort, good morning.
Good morning, Claire and Ademola. Let's bring you some of the trending news with Minister of State for Defense, Dr. Bello Mohammed Matawali, briefing President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on the outcome of his 2 operational tours to Sokoto State. Dr. Matawali highlighted the significant successes recorded by the Nigerian military in combating insecurity in the region, praising the dedication and professionalism of the Nigerian military, especially the armed forces of Nigeria. The minister eulogized President Tinubu for his government's commitment to providing necessary resources to maintaining operational efficiency in countering security threats in the Northwest. He also reaffirmed the government's resolve to bolster NAP's capacity. As part of the strategic fight against insecurity in the region, Dr. Matawali's operational visit to Sokoto State is to rekindle the people's faith in the federal government's effort to restore peace and security in the Northwest region. And his presence, along with the Chief of Defense Staff and other military chiefs, led to the elimination of many bandit leaders, amongst whom is Halilu Buzu Sububu. The minister called on residents of Sokoto, Zamfara and Katsina and that of Kebbi states to remain vigilant and cooperate with security forces to ensure the success of ongoing operations. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was very pleased with his briefing and commended the minister and the troops in their renewed vigor to eradicate insecurity in the Northwest and the security and the country. Jigawa State Governor Umar Namadi has officially briefed President Bola Tinubu on the fuel tanker disaster, which recently claimed more than 100 human lives in the state. The governor at the State House this Tuesday also appreciated the president for the federal government's response to support conveyed by a delegation to the states led by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume. After meeting with the President, Governor Namadi briefed State House correspondent on the situation.
We have about 181 people that died, and we have about 80 people in the hospital, and about 210 families are affected by this disaster. The Jigawa State government has taken the medical bill of all the affected people, and we have done a lot of intervention to the families to ensure that they continue their livelihood.
Our Senate is to carry out thorough investigation into the frequent incidents of power outages in parts of the country with a view to finding solutions to the challenges. This was when Senate Committee on Power engaged the Nigerian Electricity Management Services Agency in continuation of its oversight to strengthen agencies in the power sector for efficient service delivery. The committee expressed concern over recent grid disturbances and says it will engage all relevant stakeholders to find out immediate and remote causes of the outages. And the Senate Committee on Power notes that federal government's huge investment in the sector, and there is need for the sector players to step up their game and deliver reliable electricity to Nigerians. Meanwhile, the Minister of Power, Adebola Adelabu, has set up, or Adebayo Adelabu has set up a 6-man has set up a 6-man committee to look into the issue. 3 states have withdrawn their participation in a suit filed by Kogi and 15 other states seeking to have the Supreme Court of Nigeria outlaw operations of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. The 3 states are Adamawa, Anambra, and Ebonyi. The matter was filed by 16 states as plaintiffs, contending EFCC's existence, positing that it is not in the 1999 Constitution as amended. Taking their reference from the Supreme Court's judgment in Joseph Wobike versus Federal Government of Nigeria, the plaintiff states argued that the EFCC Establishment Act enacted in 2004 was formulated from a United Nations Convention against illicit financing until domesticated in their states. They say they are not bound by its provisions. No economy can thrive if its most active and talented youth are sold to crime. Therefore, it is imperative that parents and their stakeholders take proactive steps aimed at renewing and redirecting the minds of youth towards productive and honest living. Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu stated this while declaring open a 2024 National Cyber Crime Summit organized by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission in Abuja. That's the news at this time. Good Morning Nigeria continues with Ademola and Claire right after this break. Stay tuned.
As your president, I assure you that we are committed to finding sustainable solutions to alleviate the suffering of our citizens. Once again, I plead for your patience as the reforms we are implementing show positive signs, and we are beginning to see the light at the end of the tunnel.
What wakes you up in the morning? Is it the sunrise? Is it the alarm? No. It's your dream that wakes you every day. It's what drives you like a powerful engine. That's why you start strong every day with the rich, creamy taste of Nescafe 3-in-1, carefully crafted from selected coffee beans. You are on your hustle, and you won't stop until you succeed. Start strong. Finish strong.
On the 25th of October 2024, Air Peace marks its 10-year anniversary, a significant milestone in the aviation sector in Nigeria. For a decade, Air Peace has stayed committed to providing world-class services to passengers home and abroad. With just 7 aircraft in 2014, to becoming the largest airline in West Africa. Despite the challenges over the years, Air Peace continues to revolutionize air travel, adding new destinations and fleets to support millions of travelers across the globe. Air Peace is pleased to announce the attendance of Vice President Senator Kashim Shettima, a special guest of honor, other dignitaries including former President Olusegun Obasanjo as guest of honor, and Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development Festus Keyamo, governors of the Federating States of Nigeria, including Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, as host governor. Air Peace has also put together the best in Afrobeats, including Grammy-nominated star Davido, Flavor, Casey, and a night of inspirational songs with Timi Dakolo, Adaehi, Mirabel Chisholm, and Efezino. Air Peace proudly serves over 20 domestic destinations within Nigeria, 7 international routes, and 10 regional locations. We thank Nigerians for their support on October 25th at the Echo Hotel and Suites. See you there.
From the Atlantic across the savannah to the Sahara, we rise, a land of the free, we know they tire. We dream great, our spirit is undying.
Resilient, rooted like palm tree, we swear in colors, with undying demand. We make solutions, we ignite passion, yeah. Each diversity is unique, we have more than the solution. We are Nigeria, strength in unity, we know they carry love. We are Nigeria, together live the dream of a land with great destiny. We are Nigeria.
I am the real Nigerian. Brought to you by the National Orientation Agency, NOA.
This Saturday, Werder Bremen, Bayer Leverkusen. Watch live Werder Bremen versus Bayer Leverkusen on Sporty TV.
Sporty Bet sponsors coverage of the German Bundesliga.
You're welcome back. You're still on to Good Morning Nigeria on the network service of the NTA. It's now time for newspaper review. Stay with us.
All right, welcome back, and thank you for joining us once again. Chukwudi Okodu-Gbaja is right here in the studio, and time to welcome him. Chukwudi, good morning.
Good morning, Claire. How are you doing?
Come ça.
Bright and early. We're going to make it today, by His grace. Demola, good morning.
Good morning to you.
You look so well behaved today.
Always.
It's not just putting up appearances.
Look at your friend. You're not coming. Come, hey, Chooks, look at
Leave Claire alone. Everything is clear about Claire. Let's go, guys.
Thank you. Let's go. So, Daily Trust, we have apparently just Daily Trust this morning with us. So, Demola will share the stories.
Just go ahead.
Yes, okay. So, let me just take the stories just a bit below the nameplate. Sports, Nigeria-Libya saga. CAF made the side case today. And the sad notes there on page 5, 19 die in Plateau auto crash. And then Tinubu is speaking to Nigerians again, and he says, buy petrol at 1,000 naira per litre or CNG at 200 naira per meter.
That's anyway, we'll talk about that. Millers, barbers, tailors deploy massive blackout in the north. Power outage, grounds business activities. Minister raises committee to investigate grid collapse. Declares state of emergency in electricity sector. The major headline. Details can be found on page 4. IMF downgrades Nigeria's growth prospect to 2.9%. Details on page 9. Mother, sons shot as hoodlums attack FCDA director's apartment. Details of the story can be found on page 21. Then we have the new chapter begins, says Farouk Lawan, after leaving Kuje prison. So we have that details on page 37. Court holds Kano LG polls, dissolves Electoral Commission, page 12. Okay. Well, Chooks.
Yes, Demola. The president is saying that you have the option of buying petrol at 1,000 per liter, or you do 200 naira per cubic meter, you know, of CNG. Fine. We already are coping. It doesn't seem as if we're going to expect any price reduction. When the Labour people and the government met about 1 week ago, and they came out with the news that they have found ways of crashing food and transportation prices, you know, costs, I said, oh, that seals it. Nobody is expecting NLC to agitate and maybe get government to do some little, you know, and
reduction.
take it down a bit. Maybe it's time for us to let sleeping dogs lie, come to think of it. But we want the NNPCL to categorically come out and tell us we have completely deregulated, so that the hide and seek, the ambush, stops. Editors in Nigeria should take these up and make them talking points. The people must know where we are at any point in time. Don't leave it to the vagaries of free association or whatever one could call it. Have we now completely deregulated? If that is the case, Nigerians, let's gird our loins and see how we can weather the storm ahead till things get better. Because I still happen to be one of those who believe that the federal government is taking the right decisions. The only thing I quarreled with initially was, why would you float the foreign exchange at the same time as you remove subsidy from petrol? The twin effect of it would rather be crushing. I'm not an economist, so I'm pussyfooted when I talk about these things. But a journalist tries to know a little of them, everything.
You know,
yes,
some time ago, I think we had, someone from the gas, Nigeria. Yes.
That's what you're talking about.
Yes, and he did explain that some commercial vehicles, have been provided incentives to have their vehicles convert from petrol to gas free of charge. That's FUC, which of course everyone commended. And of course those commercial vehicles were to have CNG,
written on them,
written
so that
on
people
them.
will
People
be able to know.
But there's a challenge that people have observed and have brought to our notice, that despite that, those commercial vehicles still charge exorbitant prices. So how to ensure that this is replicated in terms of fares, commercial fares, is another issue.
I am not interested in leaving us to the mercies of religious, but maybe essentially ungodly people, which many of our people have become. You leave it to how did our Kingsley Osadolo call them in those days? The vampire market cartels. The food prices that we think should have come down by now because it's the harvest season and all that, you didn't see an essential drop. It's still hovering around there, Beans, one mudu of beans I priced 4 days ago was 3,300. I can assure you that when beans does come out in 2.5 months or 3, it's not going to fall below 2.8. So sometimes you're going to ask yourself, do us this thing. You understand?
Yes. I think we should go beyond that. We should stop wickeding, if there's anything like that, ourselves. Yes, we should stop that. But again, actually, the regulator should.
The regulator won.
Yes.
Then their argument actually is that, well, you tell us to bring down our prices. What about the other prices? They are still being affected.
Yes.
But just like you said, the regulator, just have to do their work.
You're talking about the bandwagon effect.
Yes.
If I don't go up, I won't be able to buy Claire's products or services that have gone up.
But we're talking about CNG.
No, not CNG.
Commercial. We're talking about.
He's talking about the food prices in the market.
Prices. Okay,
no. He's talking about the food prices now. That's what I'm just trying to explain.
Yes.
So, but then is the CNG, just like you said, and I think we spoke to the man outside, and he said probably that government would just have to enforce that. Maybe they have to have officials that will go in these buses, to make sure that at least these
How many
drivers, they comply.
How many buses would you go on?
Do they have enough officials?
That's the
question.
We don't have enough soldiers to fight insurgents and bandits. You think we wouldn't like to employ more? Boots on the ground cost money.
IMF downgrades.
But the point is, yes, and IMF is downgrading Niger to 2.9. You know, I think it was 3.1 or 3.2. But 2.9 is
no,
not
3.2 actually.
3.2, yeah. 3.1 or 3.2. I'm aware of it. But the point really is that 2.9 is not bad. It is not. For an economy like Nigeria's, 3.5 would have been ideal. But when China was doing 6 point something, some 5 years ago now, I think it was Kissinger who said there will be a burst at one point. So sometimes it's not good for the economy to grow so fast. Those who know economics will tell you all that. But I think it's a good, rating. Britain is 1.1. They didn't even think they were going to do as well as that. They had put it at 0.7 and all that. But the good thing is that IMF is also, putting in the stethoscope, or rather the telescope, even the big economies. So when you talk about IMF, people think that it is only we that they are hammering and all that. The economy that is galloping like the stallion is the US economy. And I think that the reflating or the reflation of the economy shortly after COVID was their saving grace. They are doing so well while the rest of the world is telling a sad story. I don't know economics. Let me keep quiet at this point. Quickly, okay, you have something to say there?
Yes.
Otherwise, I wanted to...
What I have to say is that it's time for you to go.
I think you are gradually taking this program to a close. Have I overtalked? I've not done 5 minutes. Anyway, it's time for me to go.
You've done 10 minutes.
Really?
Yeah.
Let's leave it to the economists.
All right. Thank you so much, Chooks. Thank you, Chooks.
Bless you.
Yeah, we have to, draw curtain on this segment now, and we'll take a break, after which Good Morning Nigeria continues. Stay with us.
Can you flex your vocals for us?
It could be one of your songs, by the way.
People fall in love in mysterious ways.
So why did they call you Able Child?
They called me that when I was in school. That was my nickname then in school.
Any reason in particular why they called you Able Child?
Yeah, because I was actually one of the brilliant students.
Oh, say, mommy! That answer right there. You must be, if it's not on this board, problem. That means the people that answer this service, they have body odor. Hey.
The counsel of our fathers.
My advice to these young people is please do not take us back to those harrowing days. You probably do not know what it is.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation together.
The federal government of Nigeria warns vandals of national assets, electricity transmission towers, cables, and other facilities to desist from this act of sabotage. Vandalism is a serious crime punishable under the law. Vandalizing electrical equipments will affect millions of Nigerians, including your loved ones. Remember that national assets belong to all of us, hence the need to protect them. Report all cases of suspicious movement around electrical facilities to security agencies. When you see something, say something. This message is from the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation in collaboration with the National Counter-Terrorism Center, NCTC, Office of the National Security Advisor.
Welcome to Manchester.
This Saturday, Manchester City.
Erling Haaland for the 100th time!
Southampton.
As Lallana gets it forward to Dibbling! What a moment for time!
Manchester City versus Southampton, live on Sporty TV.
Sportybet sponsors coverage of the English Premier League.
Right, right, welcome back. You're watching Good Morning Nigeria live on the network service. If you've just joined us, you're right on time for us to start our conversation. And just a reminder, we're focusing on a bill to alter some sections of the 1999 Constitution as amended to provide for independent candidacy in our electoral process. Dennis Temple compiled this background report for us.
The process of constitutional amendment is a vital mechanism for adopting country's legal framework, especially on contemporary political and social realities. There are conversations around independent candidacy that is currently on the front burner at the National Assembly, with the bill scaling through the second reading in the House of Representatives. The bill is seeking an alteration to the 1999 Constitution to allow independent candidates to stand for elective offices in future elections. The proposed bill is titled A Bill for an Act to Alter the Provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended, allow for the participation of candidates who are not sponsored by political parties in the presidential, governorship, National Assembly, state houses of assembly, and local government council elections. This bill is sponsored by the House spokesperson and member representing Ikoli-Oye Federal Constituency, Ekiti State, Akin Rotimi. If it finally becomes a law, it therefore means that Section 7, 65, 106, 131, 177, and 221 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria have been repealed. Recall that a similar bill was introduced during the Night Assembly, but it couldn't receive the requisite approval from state houses of assembly as mandated by law. When the spokesperson of the 10th House of Assembly, Rotimi, reintroduced the bill, he remarked that the time had come for qualified individuals without sponsorship from political parties to run for any office of their choice without hindrance. He shared the opinion that the bill will broaden the democratic process, thereby allowing citizens who are not affiliated with any political party the opportunity to run for public offices. There are other views to this argument, but the question arising from this is how the pendulum will swing, more so when the nation is preoccupied with other economic challenges. Our guests on Good Morning Nigeria will critically analyze the options for independent candidacy with a view to situating it within the confines of the present economic realities.
Thank you, Dennis Temple, for compiling that report. And we already have our guests seated in the studio. In no particular order, let me just start by introducing Professor Paul Nachi, Member House of Representatives, representing Enugu East and Isuzo Federal Constituency from Enugu State. Prof, you are welcome.
My pleasure being here. Thank you.
Okay. Also joining us is Professor Anthony Chidi Brains Agbazwere. He's a professor of laws and a law lecturer and Abuja-based legal practitioner. Professor, you are welcome.
Thank you very much.
All right.
All right. Let me also welcome Jide Ojo, public affairs analyst with us, as always. Today, this one you're looking like cowboy boy.
I'm in a celebratory.
Yeah, I told you that the two kids just graduated.
Wow! Congratulations.
My pleasure. Thank you.
So, let us also welcome Yusuf. Now I have to take a break. Dan Tali. Yusuf and Tali Yawa, National Chairman, Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC. Thank you very much for coming. All right.
All right. So let me just start. I don't know which one to start from. We have two professors here now.
You know what I say about professors?
Yeah.
If you
let me start from my right.
If you give them 2 minutes,
they will take 10 minutes.
10? That's anyway.
Okay, let me start from Professor Chidi Agbazwere. Let me have your thoughts on these proposed independent candidacy amendment, and how do you think it will affect or impact Nigeria's electoral landscape?
Thank you very much. Well, in the first place, as far as I am concerned, we are talking about democracy. Government of the people, for the people, and by the people, as simply defined all over the world. Now, if you talk about independent candidacy, you are advancing and broadening that democratic practice. Those that try to kill themselves because of primary elections, those issues will now be reduced. Those that are denied opportunities to contest because they have no godfathers, those issues will now be taken care of. There could be 1 or 2, 3, 4, 5 persons that could be so popular that they could come up on their own and run for election, and to the chagrin of many, they win. But that will require great constitutional amendment, because variously in the Constitution, there are provisions that are against independent candidacy. Section 65 of the Constitution provides virtually about 4 of them that talk about you have to be a member of a political party and must be sponsored by that political party. Section 65 of the Constitution makes provision for that of the National Assembly members. Section 106 makes provision for House of Assembly, State Assembly members. Section 131 of the Constitution makes provision for the presidency. Section 177 of the Constitution makes provision for the governors. So you must amend these sections if the issue of independent candidacy has to be sustained. But I tell you verily that it's a very welcome development. The stress, the strife, the killings, the denials would have been taken care of. And so it's a welcome development, and they should speed it up.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Professor Anthony Chidi Brains, Professor of Law. Let me take my question to the Member House of Representatives that is here with us, representing Enugu East and Isuzo Federal Constituency, and that's, of course, Professor Paul Namche. Yeah. And I'm just wondering, I mean, that's not the first time, that the House of Reps will move, for an amendment of the Constitution to make to provide for independent candidates in our country, electoral process. The first time it was mooted, it didn't pass first reading. I mean, just first reading. So what is inspiring this next move, that everybody is hailing?
Well, in the first instance, I would just say that the bill hasn't been, haven't actually came for the first time and also coming again, shows there is also yearning for it. And it doesn't necessarily mean that everybody will accept things, but change is always difficult. And in our own context, some are not just averse to it, but what they are averse to, but they know the difficulties in changing things in our constitution. And that difficulties, we shouldn't run away from those challenges. What we need to do is, if this is necessary, we open ourselves up for change. After all, it is democracy, it is discussion. So in the House, there's no two houses that is the same thing. That was the 9th Assembly, this is 10th Assembly. You have, the beauty of democracy is that people come, people goes, and the House remains. And the contributions of individuals matter. And the composition of the House also matters. In this case, time changes too. And time changes also changes ideas. Yesterday, we don't know that we can't operate without NITEL. Today, NITEL can't operate without us. You understand? Just put it that, just oppose it that way. So today, why this is a good discourse is that, just like Prof has actually mentioned, there is a lot of ways it can also alleviate some of the problems we're having today. Be it for the marginalized few to also find a place to anchor themselves, or be it to provide more choice for the electorate, be it to reduce godfatherism, but also to increase the open space for Nigerians to air their view. There are people, Prof has just mentioned different sections. But by and large, it is just 4 in all. If you put the sections together, one is that you must be a member of a political party, you must be of sound mind, you must have certain qualifications. Then the other one is that you must, that means you are not maybe a person of questionable character. Then the other one is that you must have certain age. In that instance, it is just one that has been picked. And this one that has been picked, we shouldn't fear changes. We should open up our life. Change is always what people fear. But at this instance, there is a lot of merit having it. What people look at is that maybe in the presidency, it might be very cumbersome for one person to run. After all, the billionaire Perot did it in U.S. Several times, and he didn't succeed because of the monetary involvement. But I can tell you, in Nigeria, it's a different ballgame. If Abiola would have been then in 1993 an independent candidate, he would put the same crowd. He did.
Are you saying that the number of political parties we have at the moment isn't enough to cover, everybody? I mean, even the independent candidate. Because we don't even some of them we don't know.
But I just want to tell you that some states don't even have some of the political parties don't even have presence in certain states. What the provision covers is that you have about some states and you make impact, and that is it. Yeah. Then if you also look at it in the other way around, I would say that it isn't just about maybe the federal, it's also about the councillorship. People know the people's character and know that this person, if he comes, he will win it, he will contribute to people. It is also about local government chairman, whatever local, because they are close to the people. What do you need? Who does people know about this? What can they, is it about? It's about credibility of the candidate. Then also in the House of Assembly, even in the House of Rep, because these are people that are so close to the people. He might not, like in the, just as I said about United States, that doesn't mean they don't have independent candidates winning in other elections. Yeah. Then if you look at in the UK where George Galloway was in Labour Party, and when he had issues during the Iraqi war, he left the party because they didn't nominate him. Because he had some issues with Tony Blair and others, members, the hierarchy of the party, he went and ran as independent candidate. As the case may be, he won and came back to the House. So these are certain examples we will also cite to our persons. It may not be all the states, all the elections, all the things that people will, but at a certain point, there may be somebody that the people want, and the system don't want. It does happen. So this is not about, it is about democracy, about what the people want, what the majority would want it to happen. I just gave some examples. George Galloway didn't contest for prime minister, but he was there to make impact for the people he represents. So sometimes political parties, don't get me wrong, are very nice. He has a system. But also, you can also tell me, with due respect to my IFAC chairman and IFAC chairman, how many of them follow their manifesto after?
That is the question.
Okay, just before we bring in Demola, can you give us an idea of the sections of the Constitution that you seek to alter?
I think in this particular one, I think it is Section 7, and also the areas he's talking about. Once you amend that, it will also affect the other ones. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Honorable. What you're talking about, what you just told us is that this independent candidacy will just zero in on the wish of the people, what the people want, not what the party wants this time around. Yeah. And just like the Prof said, to open the landscape and reduce all the stress that people go through in wanting the party to, getting the ticket of the party and all that, trying to satisfy the godfatherism and all that. So let's come to, let me bring in Yusuf now, and let's look at how this will actually align with Nigeria's democratic values and principle. How do you think it will align with Nigeria's democratic values and principle?
Thank you. Good morning once again. It's a welcome development. For everything has its advantages and the other side of it. Yes, it will open up this, but the space is even open. My sister mentioned something. How many political parties we have in 19 political parties? If you say the political parties do not have president, there's no political party that have no presence in all the states in Nigeria. Let's look at what happened in the last election. There was an OB in PDP, Peter Obi. He noticed that the way things are going in PDP will not favor him. He immediately moved into Labour Party. And he got what he wanted. There was a Kwankwaso who moved into NNPP. And he got it. Just recently. What happened in Rivers? The governor saw, okay, maybe it's not the governor, but the people there saw that the party in power in the state is not healthy for what they want to achieve. And APP came up, and it worked. In 2019, there was the former governor, Ibikule Amosu, had issues in his party. He picked my own APM, and then they got what they wanted. So I think, while I see it as a good development, where the system, at least to curb godfatherism, to curb excesses of some people who choose to stifle the system against some individuals. But there are other priorities that I think we should look at, like the minimum qualification of candidates who seek public office in Nigeria. We are not looking at that. It's a major problem. That the Constitution will allow a school leaving SAT to get elected and make policies, programs for a professor. It is anachronistic. It is very important for us to look at some of these things. It is important for us to look at the foundation. Why do we have this pressure, this tension? Seeking political office. Why do we even want to get elected into public office? To serve the people or our interest? So it is good. It's a welcome development. But I think INEC too should be involved in this discussion. Okay? So that we'll look at, because for me, the way you are talking of, the United Kingdom is an advanced democracy. The UK is advanced democracy. These people go to serve the people. The institutions are stronger than the individual. But here we have the individuals dictating what happens in the institution.
But it's also in Kenya as well.
Yes. So it is good. I'm not saying it's bad. It is a welcome development. But some things are important and urgent. Some are important but not urgent. Some are urgent but not important. Okay. For me, what should be of importance and urgency should, at least some of these things, like minimum qualification for the man seeking elective office. So you don't just pick anyhow person that is SSE, where you have sound minds, you have intellectuals. Then you now with somebody who is.
I want to take you up on that. For the mere fact that somebody has a SSE and didn't go to university does not mean that he is not sound up there.
Okay, maybe I withdraw that.
Yes,
but still
you cannot say the person is not sound.
No, okay, I withdraw the use of sound mind as yes, I withdraw that.
People that have gone just secondary school and they have made it. They make sound decisions and they are good leaders. We have such people. And by the time you now reduce to your requirements, which means that you are going to narrow it down to certain set of people. You understand? The landscape is no longer open.
I want to use you as an example. This position you are. Can you occupy this position with SSE?
That's not even the debate.
Yes, you can.
Yes. Can your MD, can an SSCE holder
We have had people that only did just secondary school, and they are good presenters.
But, sir,
yes, sir.
Let's be sincere. Most of the agencies, organizations, banks, you can't come with an SSC. Somebody will tell you to go and be cleaner.
Okay. Well, I think let's even leave that, because that's debatable.
It is.
Yes,
it is.
It's debatable, because I know that even if you have school start and all that, you will still need some further knowledge. Yes, you still need some further training, basic training, theoretical training, that is, to be able to hold such an elected office. But Jide, I don't know if you have future interest, but I know that you are non-partisan in this matter.
No.
For independent candidacy is desirable. There's no doubt about it. We've seen, in the advanced democracies, of course, in the UK, in US, even in South Africa, only this year, they also introduced, that in their constitution and all that. In Kenya, we hear it's a practice in the electoral system. So, but if you look at our political ecospace and all the technicalities, issues that the IPAC, advisory party chairman has indicated, do you think that this time is auspicious for us to do that?
Thank you. It is very auspicious. It is even belated. It is belated because we pride ourselves as a giant of Africa, but we always catch up with the rest of Africa, and it's not good. We always cite Kenya, South Africa. When I went to Ghana in 2008 to observe election, they already had independent candidacy. They already have early voting provision. Kenya already has early voting. There are let me pick my chairman's word. I'm not partisan, so he knows he's my chairman when it comes to professional. He knows what. I'm a consultant, so let's put it that way.
Okay.
So what I'm trying to say is that, first, let me lay this background. We used to have independent candidacy in the First Republic. Yes, we had. There is a very popular billionaire, as at that time, if I can call him billionaire, we call him millionaire now, then, Candido Darwicha.
Okay.
Who is very wealthy, Lagos-based, but, from the pedigree of those who returned from Brazil, those who had, his grandparents were taken to Brazil on slavery, so he returned to Nigeria, became very influential and wealthy. He ran as an independent in the First Republic, even though he didn't win. So it's just the military coup that truncated all the good things that we used to have. Okay, today we are talking of all political parties must be national. It wasn't like that in the First Republic. There are parties who contested within the region, and they have elected representatives in the assembly. But we said, because of ethnicity, tribalism, make everything national. And that's how because we are no longer learning history in school, we are now reinventing the wheel. When we used to have something and we could just have updated it. But coming back to your question, it is long overdue. Okay. Long overdue in the sense that, see, there are things it doesn't mean everybody who wants to contest will go and contest as independent. And let me shock you. Provision, there are stringent provision for you to meet before you can even be on the ballot as an independent. It's not a run. It's not like you just say, okay, I'm going to run as an independent. There are threshold of signatories that you must have endorsing your candidacy before the electoral management body will enlist you to be on the ballot. So assuming they ask you for 50,000 registered voters to endorse your candidacy, that is more than you will need if you go through primaries. I don't know if you get my mathematics. So you want to run as a governor, and they said you must have 100,000 voters who are on the register to endorse you across all the local government. So will you not campaign? Or do you want to just say, you think you will just say, oh yeah, you still campaign, and you may even end up spending more than if you have just paid the token to the party and they organize the primary. And in primaries, there are 3 provisions. Consensus, you can come in and become a consensus candidate of the party, according to Electoral 2022. You can also, the party also has the prerogative of conducting indirect primary and direct primary. And you could see that all of this is now being practiced, even though there are still some issues. You know, there are 2 sides to every coin. So let nobody jubilate that, oh, if you have an independent candidacy provision, then it will just be a walk in the park for them to become elected. There are still treasure, there are still conditions precedent that you will need to meet before the electoral management body will enlist you. And that's why INEC needs to be in this conversation.
You know, I was going to ask you again so that we have a clearer understanding. You made reference of, you know, the First Republic when we had, you know, provisions for independent candidacy. Sometime around 1963, of course. Then we had regional, you know,
regional
yes, and people, you know, could contest even at that level. But why was it truncated?
It's part of the collateral damage of military intervention. I just gave you an example. Then too, you can say, we used to have Ibadan People's Party. In the First Republic, it's just Ibadan people. In the middle belt, there are parties that just wanted to contest election in the Makurdi Boko axis. And they are there. But when the military came, and for 13 years, we went through the military interregnum, by the time between 76 and 79, you know, they have Constituent Assembly, and then we have a new constitution, which is what battered as against 1963 constitution that we operated till 1979. It is the between 1976, 77, we have Constituent Assembly, and they came up with this provision. Oh, because of the 3-year civil war, let's do away with. Of course, the military suspended the constitution on January 15. Yeah. So the constitution has been suspended and remained suspended for 13 years. So by the time Obasanjo midwifed the Second Republic, the Constituent Assembly and those who were framers of our 1979 constitution decided that, okay, we are just coming from military rule. We need to be nationalistic in outlook. You understand? As a preventive measure, so that people don't relapse into their ethnic cocoons and tribes and religion. So we started nationalizing every of our institutions. We started saying, okay, all political parties must have national article, they must have office in Abuja, and all of that provisions. Then we say we do away with independent candidacy, let everybody find expression under party platforms. And it's high time we now review that position because it has not served us. There's a shrinking civic space. Alhaji Dantale says something. We have in Nigeria individuals that are stronger than institutions. And that's why, even if you have 200 parties, you may still not have the interest of somebody who is good, but the system does not want. So how does he find expression in the political space? So our political ecosystem is already polluted because of this godfatherism. Because a governor doesn't like your face, he tells the chairman of his party to deny you ticket.
And that kind of person gets the opportunity to vie
as an independent.
Hold on, as an independent candidate.
Yes.
And, you know, perchance gets the ticket and becomes a president. He also becomes, I mean, we're back to square one.
No. See, let me tell you one thing.
We are back to square one.
It is difficult for you to run successfully as an independent for executive offices. It's more. It helps to make the legislative assembly more robust, because it's easier for you to win, as the prof said, councillorship, chairman of local government, because of the small size. Okay. But when it comes to let me tell you what my experience was.
Putin ran.
No,
Vladimir Putin ran.
No, let me tell you my experience in Ghana in 2008. The victory of Professor Atamil was boosted and enhanced by the crisis within the opposition party that was then ruling, I think MPC. They have issues with their primaries. So many of their members decided to go and run as independent, and thereby weakening the base of the party, and it affected their chances in the election. And those who ran as the independent ended up teaming up to give victory to the opposition.
Okay.
I don't know whether you understand me. So, but my own understanding as a political theorist, as a political scientist, not a politician, is that it is much easier for you as an independent to win legislative seats than to win executive seats.
All right. Thank you, Jide. Thank you. I think what you've just said, also, we've had a similar, a situation here also in this country. But let's come to the professor of law now. And I want to ask, what specific changes to the Constitution are necessary to accommodate, these independent candidacy, and how will these changes affect existing electoral laws?
Thank you very much. In the first place, I had told you the particular areas in the Constitution that must be amended. Section 65, which makes provision for the qualification of a member of the National Assembly. Section 106, which makes provision for the qualifications of a member of the House of Assembly, vis-a-vis the proviso that he must be a member of a political party and must be sponsored by that political party. Then Section 131, that makes provision for the qualification of a president in that regard. And then Section 177, that makes provision for the qualification of a governor. So all these sections must be amended. Now, it's even good that I even wanted to make this, give this little information, but your question has also given room to it. What the IPAC man said, he's not wrong. It's just that he was just talking about school certificate as qualification. That is not the import and purport of what is in the Constitution. He is very correct. If you go to Section 318 of the Constitution, that interprets the meaning of school certificate, it includes possession of first school living certificate and working experience of about 10 years. Is it not elementary 6? It also includes ordinary attempting school certificate exams. It also includes the last definition there. Any other qualification acceptable by INEC. That is it, because you see, this thing, that's why the Constitution itself is not autochthonous. It's just a contraption of the military. Some people were put together to come up with a draft. Then after the draft, themselves, in Decree 24 of 1999, said they looked at it, made amendments, they accepted. They wrote it there, first page of the Constitution. So, such qualifications are not good. If they had even left it at the fact that you will possess a school certificate, full stop, and then they define it as school certificate alone, that could have been more reasonable based on what you were even saying. Yeah. But if you pick a copy of the Constitution there and you read it out now, you see that they damnified it. So when they are also effecting these other amendments, that's also an area that should be looked at.
Okay.
And as far as I am concerned, what Jide the prof and all of them said, putting them together, becomes apt. You see, ordinarily, the way things are, assuming, you see, our orientation in this country is bad. Assuming we have people who are not selfish, then the issue of political parties, the number of political parties in the country could have taken care of everybody. But a governor, given the money they have, will look at the chairman of those parties and block Prof. And block him. He can't get that distance. So what do we lose if we give room for such an independent candidacy? Just like Nigeria also said, that candidate may even spend more money. Because if you are contesting on the platform of a political party, the party may even help you after the primaries. You now have members. But you have to now get those who love you. You do a lot of running arounds. You recruit people to follow you. You may end up there for spending more money. So as far as I am concerned, it's not a bad idea. They should do it. And like he also said, it's also funny and unfortunate that Nigeria, that we claim to be the giant of Africa, we always coming to run. We are coming behind other smaller African countries. This is something we should have been leading. Of course, it was there in the first republic. 1 or 2, 3 people tried it, but then whether they won or not, it's not even the issue. Let people have that space, and be able to move on. So that is it. And
how do you balance power between political parties and a private candidacy? How do you balance the power?
No, the issue of balance of power is not necessary. There's nothing there. If you're elected, you must not be a member of a party. Yeah. If you're elected, after all, you see, let me tell you. Thank you for even that question. That's part of the problem we have. When issues come up on the floor, somebody wants to go and work according to the party's intention. When you know this is wrong, your national chairman will call you, go this way. People will go that way. When you know it's wrong. So this thing gives space for people to do.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's bring the national chairman of IPAC. And the independent candidacy works well in advanced democracies where the democratic institutions well developed. So you have these independent candidates coming out, to satisfy the yearnings of voters who fall within what we know, for instance, in the U.S. as the swing or floating voters, or even those who have made up their minds. So the independent candidates now come to serve their purposes. Can you give us, an insight into what is really wrong with our own, democratic institutions, the party, INEC, that is giving room for this, agitation for independent candidates?
Thank you. It is not about parties. It's not about INEC. It's about Nigeria. It's a Nigerian factor. As Nigerians, are we nationalistic in our approach to issues? We have to believe first that we must have a Nigeria before having a political party, before seeking for any public office. Secondly, what do we now do with these offices that we hold? What is the expectation of those who are expected to have voted us into the office? Because the same man who who is into office is expecting something for himself, not for his community. Your family members will expect that they are the first beneficiary. Then your party will come as they want to be the first beneficiary. Your friends will want to be the first beneficiary. So this clash of perspectives is a major issue. So until these offices are meant to translate into development for the people, not the individual. And that takes us to the lucrativity, I will continue to say this, of these offices, the juiciness of these offices. And then we must look at what is happening now in the conduct of a local government election across Nigeria. As a Nigerian, it is embarrassing.
Very embarrassing.
As a Democrat, it's embarrassing. Because we all know that these elections do not reflect the wills of the people. These people are not voted. Somebody will sit, appoint another person who will oversee these affairs. Okay, get the security agencies. This is what I want. This is the person I want. There are some places you don't.
And who is responsible?
Who is
the politician?
Excuse.
The politician.
Let me finish that.
Is the electoral body giving a level playing ground?
I'm going there. Mm-hmm. The same law that established INEC is the same law that established State Independent Electoral Commission.
Constitution.
It's the Constitution. But the operations differ. What is done? Who appoints the chairman of State Independent Electoral Commission? And what are the instruments for the conduct of election? PVC. Who issues PVC? INEC. Voters register. Recently, there was a court order that voters register INEC should not give it to state. So what it means is that the State Independent Electoral Commission do not even have what it takes to conduct election. All they use to conduct election, they got them from INEC. So if they get these things from INEC, and INEC is the same body that conducts election for State House of Assembly. State House of Assembly election is supposed to be a state election.
Area councils.
Is it also INEC that introduced the stomach infrastructure? Is it also INEC that distributes money during elections?
I started by saying this is a Nigerian problem. There are expectations.
No. Let's call them. Let's call their names. It's the politicians and lack of your internal democracy.
If I know that whatever I spend, I am going to make it there. Automatic, the moment I assume, I will go ahead and spend it. But if I am going to spend, and I know whatever I spend, the system will not allow me to take anyhow the way I want to do it. I will work within what is possible. And this will now attract quality representation. Because as it stands today, it is only those who have the financial muscles to bulldoze their way through the system. Even the independent candidacy issue, it is only those who have the financial muscle. It's not easy. It won't be easy for anybody who want to go.
Yeah, that's why.
We must learn to stream, to cut down the influence of money in the system first.
Because I was going to ask, just like I asked, that how do you now provide a level playing ground, for every, contestants, like the private candidacy and the political parties? Because some of these private candidacy may not have that money that they want to. So how do you now provide the electoral system, provide that level playing ground, which is very, very important?
Where all of us as Nigerians must come together to look at what is the role of money in the system. It has done a lot of damage to all of us, to the democracy. Now, the man who wants to vote you wants money from you because he believes that even if you go, he's not getting any. Let him just take his own now. You that you are going, you will spend. You have the first thing you need. If you are coming to contact this, does he have the money? If you don't have the money, nobody want to listen to you. You must get the money, maybe to use secure your primary ticket, a primary election. You must have the money to maybe bring in the security agencies on your part. Then you still have to vote another money for post-election litigation. So we must look at the role of money in the system. Until we get that right, whatever we do, Nigerians must still find their ways to circumvent the rules around this. So if you say INEC, who is giving INEC official money? It's a politician. If you say that you are using the police, who is giving the policeman money? It's a politician. If you say the court, who is giving him money? It's a politician. The man who wants the office. If you say the thugs who are being recruited to go, who gives the thugs money and whatever he uses for, is a politician. So the question is, why does he need to provide all these things? To what ends? You get it?
Yeah.
So we must look at what is there. Why are Nigerians? So it's not about INEC alone. It's not about police. It's not about party. It's about us as Nigerians. To say this is what we need to do. We are all guilty.
We are all guilty.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Well,
Let's bring in the Honorable now.
Yes, and that's why I wanted to him, because there are 5. The Honorable Akin Rotimi, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sections of the Constitution. Section 765, 106, 13111, 177. And Section 7, subsection 4A of the bill provides that notwithstanding any other law, any individual eligible to contest an election into the State House of Assembly shall have the right to be a candidate for election to any local government, notwithstanding. I just want to emphasize that what this bill is seeking is that, such a candidate has obtained the verified signatures of at least 10% of registered voters from at least 2/3 majority of all the electoral votes in the respective local government areas. I mean, how does
just like
that's what I said.
That's just.
I didn't even read it.
No. Obviously, you would also understand that it wouldn't be just a cup of cake. That you want to be an independent candidate. So, it's the only thing you need. You need to make some provisions. You need to be accepted. Somebody who is acceptable by people will get this. And somebody who is not acceptable will not.
Yes.
Are we really serious with this?
Why not? Why not? Well, if you've contested the election.
I haven't.
I'm asking a rhetorical question.
Okay.
You would know that the first thing you do is to check registered voters in each ward. The mapping of your campaign depends on where you have the population. And no matter how you see it is doable when you have that determination. If you are contesting as a governor, as an independent candidate, for example, you have people also that you will align with, that will go to their own various places to get that signatures for you. Then if you are contesting as a councillor, people know you. If you are contesting as a House of Rep, people know you.
Yeah.
And these signatures too shall be verified by Independent National Electoral Commission.
It has to be.
Jide, please.
They are the umpire.
Yes.
I still want to ask, Honorable, let me just find out, is there a proposed timeline for implementing these the independent candidacy amendments? Is there a timeline proposed? And what steps is needed to be taken to make it a reality?
I don't think if you put up a law, maybe a kind of executive bill may come with that because of the exigency. But if you put up a law, it is the system times you, not you timing the system. Because you have to go through a second reading after the first reading. You also need to go for public hearing. And you also have to come back for laying of reports, clause by clause, and also third reading, which is then before it goes to concurrent, if it's one house, but two, so the two houses to agree on it. Then before it goes for the assent, these are the processes it will go.
Okay.
However, there is also a constitutional review committee that have been going around. This will now form part of the fulcrum on their report, on what they're going to do. They also move from state to state or region to region, as the case may be, to be able to get this thing done. So it's a compendium of what other things. This will be referred to in the House, to that constitutional review, because it needs constitutional amendment to get to that point. Having said that, that does not mean that everything that comes to constitutional review passes through. Okay. But if the people want it, you will see the chairman and others, if they don't argue against it, and the people who actually, other civil society, NGOs, can also help up to make sure that those things come to limelight. And one thing that happens is that even if it doesn't pass now, it has been registered that people want it, or a section of the country may want it. It will pass at some point. That's what you say. The law is a progressive one. And being a progressive one, it matures with the system, it matures with time.
Okay.
And people's aspiration also have a way of changing with time. I can tell you, let me just bring in this, when he said, Dan said, when he said, spoke of Obi moving from party to another, it is the way to tell you that the individual can win an election by his own merits. A lot of people moved party. They didn't do the same thing. They didn't get Ghana that support.
That effect.
So that tells you something, that the people are yearning for a change. And when you are good, people know that you are good.
People are yearning for a change, honorable, and a change that will impact their tummy. Jide, I like you to, it's like given independent candidates, the potential independent candidates, the Hobson's choice, which is no choice at all. Now you're asking them, you are saying, okay, they must meet 10%, 2/3 majority, and that one voter must not sign more than one, independent candidate. Give us, explain that for us. How does that work?
See, that's why I said we need to be enlightened. That's why it look on the surface, it looks, permit my use of word, sexy and attractive and all of that. But the implementation of it, that's why I am saying, like they say, caveat emptor. Buyers beware. Don't think it's just going to be, I can do without party. It's just expansion of civic space. That's what it's there for. So you don't want to go through the rigors of the party system, the party oligarchs, the gatekeepers. You don't want to be boxed in. You have this other option. Are you ready to take that other option? Prof was telling us before we came on set how he joined politics from academia, that he didn't even buy his nomination form. People bought it for him because they believed in him. You understand? And it can still happen, even if you are independent. And that's why I said it might be more, it will be easier for you to win legislative seats as an independent than to win executive seats. You can see, if in Kano, where Alhaji Dantale comes from, with over maybe 7 million voters, and you need to get 10% of these voters across 2/3, and you don't know them, you have to campaign. You have to find a way to reach out to them. Maybe you have to incentivize them, induce them, before they will endorse you, because that is also corruption in reverse. Somebody who knows that you need his signature, he might just tell you, okay, pay me 20,000 to get my endorsement. And this is, but Alhaji Dantale says something. It is in us. It's the Nigerian factor. See, what I would suggest is that when public hearings do take place on this, people should come with experience from other clients, and let's find the most suitable one that we can adapt to our own situation. That's number one. But we must also take this advantage of constitutional alteration to do an holistic review of our electoral process. Because in my own expectation, in my own opinion, 25 years down the line, our politics is not impacting very well on our democratic consolidation project. That is my own personal opinion. Because our politics is supposed to be developmental. Our politics is supposed to provide dividends to people. But what we have now is politics of personal aggrandizement, politics of poverty alleviation. So, and I disagree with Alhaji Dantale on one point. when he was talking about remuneration of political office holder, that is not our problem. It is not. Why I said it is not is because what the lawmakers or the executive or what they get as legitimate earning in civil society, there are country directors that earn about 5 million naira every month. Country directors of a national NGO that earns 3 million, 5 million. So if a governor in 2024 is still earning about 1 million naira, would you say it's too much remuneration for a governor? But what the problem is what they take advantage to accumulate, primitive accumulation, how they embezzle state funds, the issue of security votes that they don't account for, which could be in billions. That is why they are able to recoup their investment, political investment. I dare say, go and fact check me. If all political office holders across the length and breadth of Nigeria, and there are 11,082 political offices in Nigeria, from councillorship, which is 8,809, to area council and local government chairperson, which together gives you 774. If you add that together with 993 state House of Assembly seats, to that of 360 House of Reps, to that of 109 senatorial seats, to 36 state governors, and then the president. It gives you 11,082 seats, offices. But go and fact check how much these people are paid. Legitimate earnings, they cannot even recoup what they spend on their nomination form. An expression of interest. They cannot. Okay, APC charged 50 million for nomination and expression of interest form. You have to campaign for 150 days. 150 days, that's 5 months. You have to have an independent campaign office. So at the end of the day, if you are poor, you cannot even attempt to run a viable, robust campaign. And now, if you now spend, assuming without considering that you now spend 3 billion to become a governor, and your earning, legitimate earning as a governor, is 1 million and maybe 1.5 million. Let me be magnanimous. With revenue mobilization and fiscal commission, what they are supposed to get, even with all the perks, you cannot have 1 billion in 4 years. So how then do they recoup their investment if not through corrupt means? And that is what we need to checkmate. Okay. That's number one. Number two, let me quickly run us through. We need provision for early voting. In America now, as at yesterday, 14 million people have already voted. 2 weeks ahead of election. There is no provision for early voting in Nigeria. In 2008, when I went to Ghana, when I went to Uganda, when I went to Egypt, people had early voting provision.
We have to cut you or put you on hold for break.
Okay.
Yes.
Before we just go on, we still have 2 minutes before break. You were itching to add to what he was saying. Let's just have you in just less than 2 minutes before we go on break.
Yeah, I think event is terrible. However, what I wanted to add is that most of these things are just our own problem, our own attitude.
That's it.
Because I give you an instance. When it comes to vote for local government election, national election in UK, you tick with a pencil and go your way. You don't even, not ink. And the tip, your pencil will remain. Our own here, if you did, they will clean it.
Can they clean the pencil?
No, when they will clean, when people will remove ink and people will mark with, it is how those people are doing voting and all this. They are not the politicians you may lay blame on. They are Nigerians. So it is our attitude. These people, you come, you think and go your way, go back to work, anything. And at last, you find out the result. It's what you think. But our own is that even if you are there, you didn't go. It might come differently.
Okay.
So these are our own attitude must change.
All right. Thank you, Honorable. So we take a break now. When we come back, we'll look at some of the challenges that may arise from the implementation of these private candidacy. Stay with us.
Davey, come and see the cool sales in here. Everything's on discount.
Yeah, I saw it already. But you know what? I've been thinking we should focus more on making things than just buying stuff.
What? You mean we shouldn't go for these awesome...
No. Hear me out, Nkechi. We are always chasing after new toys, upgrading gadgets, and buying things we don't really need. But what if we use that money to create something special?
Like what?
Anything! Instead of getting another fancy pair of shoes, we could start our own cool business together.
You mean we should become entrepreneurs?
Exactly! We could use our smart thinking to make something awesome for people. We might even make a big difference in our neighborhood.
You know what? You're right. We can learn a lot about money too.
Awesome! Let's be the heroes of our own story. Together, we can make a big change and break free from just buying stuff all the time.
One right action can make a big difference, right?
I think Amaka should just move out of the house. Yes.
No. Standing out of the house is not the right thing to do.
Oh, there you go again with your sentimental family stuff.
Baby, if our aim is to stop this affair, it is best achieved under our roof.
You do something terrible and you'll be acting innocent.
What are you going on about?
Don't ask me that question again. You couldn't even control yourself in the presence of our visitors.
What are you accusing me of, woman?
My son, I don't know how serious you are with my daughter, but there's something that needs to be done urgently before you move any further.
Anything, just anything, just say it. I'm ready to do anything.
There is a spell that needs to be removed.
A spell?
Family forever. The story of our lives.
The counsel of our fathers.
I will urge and advise our younger generation to use talent and brain to sort out problems, not arms.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation together.
You have to move from the point where you protect and defend your religion to a point where you also recognize the rights of the other person, of the other religion, and protect it. So if I am protecting my own territory and my own people and trying to emphasize their rights and protect their rights, I should also be thinking about how to protect the rights of the others.
Both Islam and Christianity recognize and defer to God, and both recognize the temporariness of the life of this world, and that ultimately we all go back to God for the day of reckoning, when everybody will render an account of his life on this temporary abode.
This Sunday, Fiorentina.
Adli's done well here. Yassine Adli! He was
Roma.
big. Has Pellegrini done big? Still and all the way.
Fiorentina versus Roma. Live on Sporty TV.
SportyBet sponsors coverage of the Italian Serie A.
You're still watching Good Morning Nigeria on the network service of the NTA, and we are still looking at the private candidacy bill, and we have our guest still seated in the studio. Now, Professor of Law, let's just before we went on break, I said that We're going to look at the challenges that may arise from the implementation of this private candidacy amendment, and how do we address, if these challenges come up.
Well, thank you very much. In the first place, I don't even think that those in the National Assembly that are talking about this independent candidacy want it to succeed. Yes, I believe that this kind of discourse will also remind them of the need to look at what they are drafting. If you look at the turnout at elections, you see the percentage is very low. So for you now to tell somebody to go and get 10% of the voters, you're already telling him you are not there. Number two, you are now asking INEC to come and verify. There are so many people who have very good mind, maybe in the National Assembly, and then at least with what we are saying, they can now go in and then get their people to look at this again. For INEC to come and verify these signatures, where is the time? Who will spend the money? Now, even for you to mobilize those people to come out, that also takes me, before I go far, to the need for us to look at our value system. Part of Nigeria's problem is our value system and the need for reorientation. You see, in all of that, you must give those people money. In Nigeria today, with all that we've read, himself a professor with Jide, no matter what Jide is saying, APAC chairman, all of them, if they want to go and run for election that everybody is aware that they are qualified, unless they bring money. Even the Nigerian National Assembly, our laws, also recognize the need to spend money. Even the pegging, the National Assembly made a law in the Electoral Act and said, look, you don't spend so much, so, but still big money. Section 88 of the Electoral Act provides for how much a candidate is to spend, how much you cannot spend more than. Now, for House of Assembly, they say 30 million. House of Reps, they say 70 million. For the Senate, they said 100 million. For governorship, 1 billion. For presidency, 5 billion. Even the ordinary 30 million for House of Assembly. Is it everybody that has it? So, but I also know that some people spend more than that. But then, these are bottlenecks. So, if anybody wants to talk about, bring up independent candidacy, to cure this issue of some people saying, Prof, who has been abroad with all the experiences in UK, that guy, if we allow him to come up, he will outshine us. Let us block him. Because that person is governor. To give room for Prof, to have expression, to serve his people. If that must succeed, if that is to work, a lot of rejigging must take place. The government of the day must invest so much in reorientation. You see, unless we do that, there will still be a hitch. And these are the issues. Now, the other people, that independent candidate too, like Jide said, even to campaign, you spend so much money. It is not easy. So unless they whittle down the conditions, it's as good as saying, come and test it now. They make it so Hekuliani. Yes. Yeah, Is it not so? They make it so cumbersome.
It's option's choice, like Claire said.
Option's
choice.
It's not choice at all.
So it will
not take, but don't take.
It will not be you that say.
What we are doing now is meant to do.
Yes,
is to cure this thing.
Fine.
To inform the people. To inform the nation. At some point we've gotten here. Is what I will present during the second.
No, these are things that is even you. When it's good. But I believe that most other members of National Assembly, if they are patriotic, or those who want to be patriotic, are listening to what we're saying, and they will capture these things and come down. 10% is too much. If 1% is manageable.
And doing public hearing.
Yes. Public hearing is. You see, I've been in several things.
Yeah.
Public hearing is, these things are window dressing. After that, you go home, go back, and do what you like. That also brings me to what I've even started writing something to Mr. President, and maybe Speaker House of Reps, and then the Senate President. Let me tell you, Let me tell you, Nigeria cannot get better unless and until we look at our laws. That constitution that we have was just given to us. People are amending National Assembly every other time they amend this, amend that. What of the other ones? It's not even, look at this, we the people of Nigeria. It's not from us. A different body for Nigeria to get better. Let me tell you, do you know that the last election, our result sheets were customized? But you still see people who go and print fake result sheets, and then when you get to tribunal or the appeal court, there are bottlenecks. To win those things, it's not easy. You call the witnesses from polling units, it's not easy. You understand the point? So, and then if we have a law that no matter how long it takes, we confirm that you perpetrated fraud, you'll be punished, people will be afraid. Mm-hmm. If we have a law that as a judge, you saw what is very manifest and you went the other way, and then you are to be punished, people will be afraid. Look at section 285, subsection 7 of the Nigerian Constitution that says, everything about the election after 60 days, you dispose of it. So you can no longer raise it again. So these are issues. So unless, unless when we get people who are different, IPAC chairman, Jide, so different people, who will not benefit immediately from the constitution or the law, to come and draft a constitution after you go back to your house. Because even if it's legislature or executive or judiciary, you ask them to say, come and put up laws. Because they are the ones doing it, they will also try to protect their own interest.
But let's
see how it goes by tomorrow.
Yes, let's still stay on, the independent candidates.
Yes.
And again, let's bring in our national chairman, IPAC, and our. I'm not.
You see now. You are saying when I said our chairman, you said.
I was just pulling your legs, and you fell for it.
But you need to start preparing to come.
No, please. You see this job? I think I was made for this job. So please, you stay your own. Plato said everybody is cut out. Your jobs are cut out for.
Day your day.
Day your day. My day.
So you can come in.
No, but when you come in, you already know the problems of the communication industry.
Please let me proceed with my question.
Day your day.
Let me proceed with my question. And sometimes some people also point out the fact that even with the 19 political parties that we have, some of those who have come out to contest, do so just because they want that, prefix, X, presidential, X, this, candidate and all that. So it has become a show, it's a symbol and all that. Now, if you now open the space to allow other people to come in, of course, so many Nigerians will come, and then you have, multiplicity of people, coming for show, not even to contest, not even to vie, not even with, like you said, with the interests of Nigeria. How do we begin to curtail or to limit the number? What must INEC do?
Before answering you, I want to say, Prof, thank you. In his last submission, he made some salient points that if we must get these things right, we have to look at the whole doctrine. Mm-hmm. We have to look at Nigeria again. And then it shouldn't be, Prof, Senate committee, that will draft these things. Let it be those who will not benefit immediately from these things, so that their personal interest will not affect what will be done. Mm-hmm. The foundation is not okay. We must look at it again, deeply, sincerely, as patriotic Nigerians. See, there's something we are not prepared to talk about. You are from the southeast. You are from the southwest. I'm from the north. It is not easy for me to say, I'm from here, or you can do this there, because that thing, indigenship, affects our polity. we must take something out of our national polity, state of origin. It is very key. If we want to live as Nigerians, it will solve some major
This is what
problems.
they did in Rwanda.
If
You
in
don't identify
Rwanda
yourself.
today, if you ask anybody
Are you a
that you a Tusio, except that person is very close to you or is very friendly, you first tell you, I'm a Rwandan.
I'm in Rwanda.
And don't ask again, because they have gone through. And you see how they the same thing. But today, I am going to talk as a Hausa man. You come to talk with that consciousness that you are representing the Yoruba nation. You come to do what you want to do with that consciousness that you are representing the Igbo nation. So we need to look at that thing again, just like Prof said.
How does that relate
That's
with the, how does this, because what you're talking about now is a constitutional review. Sorry? Yes, or constitutional review.
We need a new constitution.
A new constitution. That's not what we are discussing. What we are discussing is the bill seeking to...
Yes. The late Chief of Bafemi Awolowo, one of the presidents we never had, he said, if you must solve a problem, you have to look at the root of that problem. That when you begin to look at the symptoms of the problem, you are only cutting the stems. You are not addressing the root of the problem. We have to look at the foundation. Now, so that whatever we say, we can continue to speak all the English in the world. But the fundamentals of these things, if it's not addressed, okay, look at I'm a student of sociology. We must look at problems, the immediate cause of the problem, and the remote cause of the problems. Cars kill, but cars are not designed to kill. They are designed to facilitate transportation.
That's true.
But they kill. People use cars to impress on their status. If there's a car somebody will bring now, you know who he is. But that is not the purpose of the car. So we must look at.
So in other words, yes, this bill has died even before it.
I am not saying that. That is left for the Senate and Nigerians to decide.
No, it's not talking about the bill.
No. He said to look at a problem, we must look at the foundation.
Otherwise, we are looking at this. Okay, now I want to give you another example.
Yes.
We have been killing bandits. We have been killing kidnappers. Yet, hundreds of them, thousands are still coming. Why? Is it because they want to die? No. But because something is fundamentally wrong with their socioeconomic arrangement. That some person feel they are hopeless.
And that's why I'm helping you to put, because you said let us call a spade a spade.
Yes.
I want you to come out and really tell us what you think about this bill. You are still quoting it.
The issue is we have the laws we have today. Somehow, it's fantastic. There are bottlenecks when you do this. It's not a tea party, just like Dr. Jide said. It's not a tea party that you come as independent candidates, you come and pick. It is even easier and better for you to run through the existing political parties. But then, we must look at these offices. Why do we seek these offices? Why do we need it? What are we? How has it translated? Did I mention something? That the 25 years of our democratic journey so far, what has it reflected? Has it impacted on the Nigerian state? What have we? Let's x-ray the whole journey.
Okay. All right, thank you. I know you are itching to, you wanted to add to what he was saying.
Yes, I need to address your concern.
Before I ask Jide the question.
Addressing your concern, he is not saying that this bill is already dead on arrival or that it should die. What we are saying is that if this issue of independent candidacy were to be discussed by the people themselves, it would have been different. That those who are discussing it, who are already holding the keys to their own political parties, may even be afraid of those who may come to contest against them as independent candidates. Like, for example, now, he mentioned Abiola. If Abiola were to be alive, given his lifestyle, he has the money, he has the popularity, he has the name, he can, handle that. So what we are saying is that we are not talking about a temporary solution. We are talking about a permanent solution.
Okay.
And I am telling you verily, I've done studies on this. The quagmire of Nigeria, 50% is that problem.
The Constitution.
Yes, let me tell you. Even this idea of governors, what they do, it is from the law that they are checkmated. If you allow it, leave it at the level of amendment alone, you can see that the National Assembly cannot do anything without the House of Assembly to third. And the governors will frustrate them. Are you getting the point? Even checkmating the governors, even this issue of independency, what is it called? The autonomy of local governments. Those things cannot work. The Anambra governor was justifying what he did. Of course, you won't blame him. If you look at Section 7, that talks about that a democratically elected local government system is hereby guaranteed, subsection 1. From subsections 2 down, they now push it to House of Assembly.
But the judiciary is also complicit in all of this.
The judiciary,
you give different interpretations to so many things.
Wait, now let me tell you.
Yes.
The job of the judiciary is to interpret. So when you have a good law, and there are some that you even say, look, these ones cannot be amended except through this way, the judiciary will now keep to it. Are you getting what I'm saying? At least 90%. Their job is to interpret. So you now see that unless we start from the foundation, we'll be going round and round. And it will be unfortunate. But I believe that even if the current leadership of Nigeria would not want it to take effect now, we can get them to start it. And then, even if it's after the tenure of President Tinubu, let the thing come into being, into force. Unless we do that, let me tell you, a lot of things are going wrong. And it is a matter of law. And look, for example, even amending the way the laws of Nigeria and the Constitution could be amended, the condition is also different. They talk about 4/5, not 2/3 again, for National Assembly, and then 2/3 from House of Assemblies. And then chapter 4, and so on. So
you may have to round up because of time.
In a sentence, what we are saying, I just had to come in, to get you to appreciate it properly. What we are saying is that by the time we do that, it will be better. And even themselves will be respected, things will be easier. And people will stop coming to politics because of money. Let service be the issue.
All right, thank you very much.
Yes.
Honorable will speak last. Let's bring in Jide now to just in 1 minute. What do you think the role of civil society organizations should be in, propagating or educating the public on this amendment?
Of course, we have our jobs cut out for us, and we are already doing that, educating the public about the advantages and the demerits of this independent candidacy. And let me say this, and thanks for the opportunity to speak on this. It is deliberate that the conditions precedent to be an independent candidate is made stringent. I know my people, and my people know me. People contest election for different reasons.
Yes.
There are those who know they will never win. They will go and contest to serve as a bargaining chip. Because they know that will give them platform to question the integrity of the election. So if you make the law weak, 1% of the voter register you do not verify, it then means that you are going to have about 1,000 presidential candidates, because it will find it easy to become a candidate. And some will say, I contested against Tinubu. I'm an ex-president. They will even print card. Ex-presidential candidate in 2027. Yes. Ex this, ex that. Yes. So you will need to make the conditions stringent so that it will not be an all-comers affair. Exactly. Remember, there was a time in 2011, we have 91 registered political parties. 91. Until when the National Assembly now amended the Constitution to amended Section 225A, input Section 225A, which now empowers INEC to deregister party. In which case, we now have a manageable size of 19. You could see that it will have ended up having a bandwagon of so many parties that are not adding value to the system. The same thing that it is important to make the condition for independent candidates to be stringent. But civil society is doing their own bit.
You were given 1 minute. You spent 5 minutes. Today, are you a professor? All right, please. Just tell us what how you intend to make this work. Like the Not Too Young to Run Act, when it came on board, we all know what it is, and we know how far the young, have
been able to run.
Well, I think I also borrow a bit of what he said about the law. It is not to make it just all commerce affair. There should also be some judicial conditions. Okay. That's not because otherwise we'll end up in court till the end of the election. And I understand. Because you also have to be some limitations that you have to get certain percentage before you jump into the court and start doing things. So the National Assembly does law, but also get input from the civil society and from every other person. If you come, whatever you say there, you can challenge that it's not the outcome of the public hearing. But if you are not there, you cannot come and challenge it and say it is this condition on what this has been said. In all honesty, we need this, but each one has its own demerits and merits.
Okay,
So,
thank you very much. In all honesty, we need this. I know we still have so much to talk about on this issue, and we're still going to have is a continuous discussion. So this is not the end of it. So I want to thank you, Honorable Professor Anthony Chidi Brains Agbazwere, Professor of Laws, law lecturer, and Abuja-based legal practitioner. Thank you so much for your contribution.
My pleasure, and God bless.
Also, I want to thank Professor Paul Nachi, Honorable Member, House of Representatives, representing Enugu East and Isi Uzo Federal Constituency from Enugu State. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, my pleasure.
All right. Jide Ojo, our public affairs analyst, as usual, we thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, National Chairman, Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC, Yusuf Dantale. Thank you so much for your contribution this morning.
Thank you.
Well, that's Good Morning Nigeria for today. Thank you so much for watching. I am Ademola Adeoye.
And I'm Claire Adelabu Abdurrazak.